Welcome back to the Gone for 10 show. It's a blue day. New South Wales, they've leveled up the series. It's 1-1. The game is going back to Suncorp for the decider. I'm joined by Baxter again. Baxter, how are you feeling? Obviously, let's go with tonight and then give us a quick update on how you felt about that game, and then we'll jump into it and we'll go into a bit more detail.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Let's be honest. I mean, I am okay. I did expect us. I did say in the previous pod that we were going to lose this one. I did give us a 12.5 start, so you blew us out of the water there for gambling wise. But I didn't. I thought we'd put up more of a fight. We did for the first 39 minutes, and obviously having that man down really did cost us in the end. Petrol out of the tank, and really had to defend hard. And New South Wales just kept running through us. And yeah, as you said, 1-1 back to Suncorp. It's coming home, baby. It's coming home.
All right. And we know if you're an England supporter watching this video, you know what happens when someone says it is coming home. It's going the other way. So fingers crossed that means it's coming back across the border to New South Wales. But we'll pop it up on the screen for those that didn't obviously see the game. It was 44-12. It did blow out in the end. However, it was about a 10-minute period just after Kafusi actually came back on where the game changed. And Cleary went over twice in 2 minutes. Luai went over. And it pretty much killed the game off as a competition, and the floodgates kind of kept rolling now. Baxter, you've already mentioned, obviously, the sin binning. Kafusi getting sent now. I have my opinion on it. I'm going to let you go first. I'm a great host. I always let the guests go first. So I'll have your opinion. You might be shocked by my opinion to an extent, but I'll let you go first. What were your thoughts on that sin bin?
My biased opinion is simply any man that sends a Queensland player to the bin is basically shot. He should lose his job. See you later. But in all retrospect, yes, there was a bit of holding down. Yes, we gave away 4, 5, 6 again in that 10-meter line in that set, like in that previous 5 minutes, and the what do you call it? The penalty on Valentine Holmes there. Escorting, you know, so it led up to that. I did find it funny that you got Gus Gould and the Madman on the Channel 9 commentary.
Johnsy.
Oh, he's no, the Queensland Manly forward, the Ranger.
Oh, he's
footy
a flop
show.
anyway if you played for Queensland.
Fatty Borden, sorry. You had those two on there who called themselves experts, as they said, and even they didn't know what the 6 agains were for. It just comes up on the screen, 6 again. It doesn't really say what it was for. Yeah, I do believe it was a 10 in the bin. Obviously, it hurt us because you scored not even 30 seconds later. Yeah, that's my opinion. What about yours?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same thing. I think any day of the week, any game of the week, I think that's a 10 in the bin. Obviously, like you've said, that 6 again rule, it's kind of up to the referee's discretion. And that's where it kind of gets ugly. We don't know exactly what the 6 again's for. It's ruck infringements. It's off, not on the line, inside the 10, but we don't actually get to see what the ruck infringements actually are. But like you said, maybe for Origin, it's a bit soft to send someone to the bin. But I do think if Kafusi, when the ref first went get up, lets go of the player's legs or head, wherever he had him, I think he stays on the pitch. But because he held on and kind of looked at the ref like, we'll do something about it, give a penalty, I think that's why he went to the bin. But it's a tough one to tell, obviously.
Did you notice that Kafusi was only sin-binned for 8 minutes and a half playing time? Now, do you agree with that? I don't really see a problem with it because it's in the laws of the game. Do you have a problem as a New South Wales fan? Do you have a problem with it?
Well, it's a tough one because if I really wanted to, if I got a player sent to the bin and I get a penalty up the other end, what's stopping me from taking 5 minutes to take a 2-pointer? Lining it up from halfway, taking 5 minutes, and my player's only off for 5 minutes. I think it's going to be 10 minutes of game time, get them off. As soon as the penalty is given, stop the clock. Don't even put it back on for Cleary converting the 2. Wait till they get back to halfway, kick it off, and then start the clock because who knows when that could come back. Obviously, Kafusi could have come back in and made a try-saving tackle. He didn't, but if he did, New South Wales would go, he was only off for 8.5 minutes.
Yep. Oh, well.
All right. Well, obviously, Baxter, there was one main man. He did tear him apart. We spoke on the other pod of how the media was portraying him as a poor Cameron Munster. I think it reversed. We're going to pop it up on the screen. It is Nathan Cleary. He did own that game. 2 tries, 2 try assists, 3 tackle breaks, 1 line break assist, 24 points, which is the second most by a New South Wales Blue in one game, 2 line breaks, and 446 kicking meters, not to mention 8 from 8 from the boot. Now, Baxter, we spoke about how we thought Munster's worth 1.2 million. If you're putting him at 1.2 million, what are you valuing Nathan Cleary at after this game?
Considering both Cameron Munster and Nathan Cleary this season have had one terrible State of Origin game and one great State of Origin game, they're both worth the same. Obviously, they're getting the same amount, obviously, at their respective clubs. It was good to see Nathan Cleary. Obviously, he owned the result of that loss in game 1. He came out and said, I have to wear it. I am the number 7. And then he came back and obviously put on a masterclass, a 10 out of 10 in my books, and really showed why he is the Australian number 7.
All right, and I'm going to obviously be spoken about the Australian number 7. I think we're in agreement that he does take that position. I don't think Cherry Evans or Munster, even if he was a number 7, would be rivaling him at the moment. I want to talk to you about the one man that we picked that was a potential man of the match. And I think he played good, and if it wasn't for Nathan Cleary stepping up, he probably gets it. It's Matt Burton. On debut, we spoke about his kicking game, how it was going to cause, obviously, Queensland trouble. I think that bomb's still coming down. That's how high he kicked it. What were your thoughts on Burton, obviously, on debut? Because if you look at that try he scored, everyone was standing back waiting for a cutout. And without even talking, he knew exactly what Cleary was aiming for. And he came through, picked it up, and went under the post. So what were your thoughts on that?
Oh, it was good to see. They did. I think Sportsbet put up a thing in the last 5 years. The left centre is normally the first try scorer in opening Origin matches. So it was good to see Matt Burton owning it. It is good to see that you got those link ups. They talk about Queensland, how you sort of with that dominant era there, that you could just sort of give a look and you knew what was going on. You knew what play was going to happen, and Burton just being at Penrith for so many years, obviously knowing Nathan Cleary, he's just expected the unexpected. Okay, is it going to go cut out pass over my head, or is it going to be a kick? He's obviously grabbed the kick and he's taken with 2 hands and scored. He's brilliant with the ball. That bomb he did was really good, really good. It would just be funny to see. Obviously, game 3, you got Jack Whiten, who missed out for COVID. Obviously,
you're jumping ahead here. That's the next question, Baxter.
Oh,
so I'm going to ask it before you go into it. I will ask the question.
Okay.
You've got Crichton and Burton in the centres this game. You've got Jack Whiten coming back from COVID, who I don't think did anything wrong in game 1. If it wasn't for the COVID, he's got his position. You've got Latrell Mitchell coming back. You're a Queensland, okay? You're a Queenslander supporter.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you like to face the most? Question 1. So who would you like as a Queenslander to face? And then who do you think should take those positions?
The easier option would be what you had in game 1, where you had Jack Whiten and Crichton, obviously because you take out that massive boot of Matt Burton. I believe it should be given you drop Stephen Crichton altogether and you put in Jack Whiten and Matt Burton. Obviously, Latrell not playing so many games. He can miss out this season and worry about his form for South. But that's who I would rather have facing me. Who they decide to end up picking, I don't know. Take your pick.
I think it's going to heat up. I think on the basis of what we've seen, it would be a bit tough to drop Stephen Crichton. But if you do move him back to the bench, I think Whiten comes into that spot unless Latrell goes crazy these next 2 weeks and absolutely tears the game apart. He's reportedly 10 to 15 kilos lighter. So if he comes in and he has that same destruction that he does, it's going to be tough to leave him out of that side. But we'll jump to the Queensland side just quickly. Obviously, Kalen Ponga, another concussion. It's his second in, I think, about 3 weeks. It's his 4th or 5th in the last year and a half. He falls into that same injury cloud of Boyd Cordner last year, Jake Friend, the one Kiri's going through at the moment. He's probably going to miss game 3. Who would you like in that fullback position?
We've got a couple of candidates there. Obviously, we got Valentine Holmes there. We've got Reece Walsh. We've got Jaden Campbell, obviously a rookie. We do have a little bit of depth there, but if we do go with the Valentine Holmes option, obviously that sort of impacts our center dilemma at the moment, because obviously you got Dane Gagai, who's missed a total of 18 missed tackles in 2 games. Does he stand up and perform, or does Billy drop him? It's one of those ones where it's on him. I'm more of a pick and stick. He's done it before. Can he do it again? Probably yes, but he's getting to that age where it's like, okay, the next crop has to step up. And I'm given that it is the decider, I think Billy will give the nod to Dane Gagai and go, you know what, we'll worry about next year. If we had won game 2, maybe we see Billy try a new positions for players to see what he has at his disposal. But obviously, we're talking about a decider. I think Dane Gagai will stay centre. I do believe maybe Reece Walsh comes into the fullback role. If Ponga is out, you could put AJ Brimson in there. I know he's been playing a lot of 5'8" there for the Gold Coast Titans, and we got a good depth.
All right, obviously, one final question, and I think we need to touch on. Obviously, both players have been named in the lineups on Team List Tuesday, but it is obviously Munster and Hass's injury concerns. There was rumours that Munster was in doubt for Game 3, but more importantly, it was talks that he's going to miss probably the next week or 2 of NRL action. Hassett had come out was going to miss 5 to 6 weeks. Now, you look over Team List Tuesday, which we'll get into a little bit more when we come up against it in the next episode, but they've both been named. So would you prefer to see these players rested? They've had a big hit out. Do you think they deserve to have that week off, or is it all hands on deck, try and get as many points, and we'll rest you after Game 3?
You got to look at the respective games they've got coming up. Obviously, you got Panthers v Storm, and then Cowboys in the North Queensland Derby, or the 4X Derby there with Broncos. So really, it's for Storm's sake. They need to win to keep second.
No, it's Penrith versus Roosters. Storm have Manly.
You are right too. Sorry, my bad. So, sorry, take out the Panther thing. For Storm's sake, Storm need to win to keep their second spot. If they lose, there is a potential for Cowboys to jump. Now, for the Broncos, they need to win to keep their top 4 spots alive. They are sitting 5th, just outside with the Sharks above them. It would be good to win, for the Broncos' sake, to get their win, jump into 4th over their rivals, and move into that 4th spot. But look, as I said, if Queensland are won, you probably see Cam Munster rested. But given that, I think, look, as the ones Cameron Smith used to say, after a game, he'd just say to Bellyache, just don't worry about training. Just give me the week off, let me rest, and then come game time, I'll just pull it out of a hat. So, look, I think Cameron will play. How much of an impact will he be? Will he be the Cooper Cronk of 2018 with that busted shoulder? Or will they pull him at the last minute and they put a replacement on? Haven't seen their full list yet, but we'll get into it in the other pod. But yeah, I believe so.
Well, obviously, as we see, we will leave that there for the Origin review. We will have a preview for the 3rd game, but we're going early predictions. Baxter, it's a couple of weeks out. We don't even know who's going to be in the squad. We think they'll be quite similar, but what are you saying for Game 3? You're obviously going to go with Queensland, but give me a score prediction.
I'm going to go Queensland. Oh, look, we'll go 1-12. I'll give New South Wales the 7.5 plus start.
You're quite generous, and I think a lot of people are going to have New South Wales a lot more favourites than 7.5. But for me, this might bite me. This might bite me, but I honestly think that Game 2 opened up the floodgates. We have Burden. Yeah, go.
Oh no! I was just saying it's a different style of pitch. Obviously, they're playing Game 2. They played a little bit earlier, so it was a little bit windy. It was a little bit bit dewy in the air, and you could see that from the multiple players just falling over. Queensland's a different pitch altogether. It's a nice dry surface. The ball's going to be flowing through. The humidity is going through the roof, especially with the Caxton crowd beating their drums, yelling abuse at these disgusting blue players. Mate, it's going to be one hell of a stadium to be in.
So what you're saying is this is the same Caxton crowd that there was no New South Wales fans allowed in the ground last year, and you got done 26-0 to lose the Shield. To lose the Shield in Suncorp after having all 3 games in Queensland.
But he still didn't win a
war. You think that's going to be too much of a difference?
Look, COVID's different. There wasn't the max capacity in the grounds.
You only need 25,000 Queenslanders. The second head, so that's 50,000. So it doesn't make too much of a difference.
Please. You don't see a second head growing out of me. Must have cut it off as I jumped across the border here. But look, it is one of those things. It is the heart of state origin. It is going to be for those debutants, obviously Matt Burton, it's going to be a place where you're going to get tested. So it's a make or break at the moment. You got a decider at Suncorp. It's going to be one of those ones where you just go, wow.
Well, you know what? I said easily 5.5 last game. I'm doubling on it. New South Wales 11.5 minus to start that game. It's going 13 plus. The boys are going to roll on with it. If anything, it's probably beneficial to Freddie now, but obviously you've got to fit Victor Radley. You've got to fit Latrell. You've got to Pappenhausen coming back. You've got a Jack Whiting coming back. It just raises those questions to Queensland, not knowing exactly who's going to get picked in this squad. So I'm going 13 plus New South Wales. Baxter, as always, I'm going to give you the chance to sign off in your final thoughts. Go for it.
Look, go Queensland, and look, we've got to send someone to the bin. So Ashley Klein, you're in the bin.
So this is what happens, Ashley. If you're listening to this podcast, this is what happens when you help them in game one. You give them a bit of false confidence, and then they get a bit upset when you make a bad call. Like, I haven't seen. Hold on. No. We want to talk about Ashley Klein. Let's bring him back in.
Bring him in. Bring him in.
I heard the NFL's called and tried to recruit you after your first try for Queensland. It went about 2.5 meters forward.
Mate,
some of their quarterbacks can't even throw a ball that well.
It went back. If it goes out of if the motion out of the hands is backwards, play on, buddy. Don't get.
So if I go like this, throw it that way, throw it 10 meters forward.
No, but if it goes out of your hands backwards and it floats forward, then it's not a forward pass. So, look, I don't know what happened. We put 25 grand in a paper bag underneath the table. We looked underneath and we still saw it there. So obviously you paid him off more. Can't win them all, but we'll win definitely game 3.
All right. Well, like we said, we will go to that decider at Suncorp. It is on the 13th of July. It will be an 8 o'clock kickoff. We will have a preview. Obviously, before that game, we'll talk about team lists. But Baxter will be back with obviously round 16's preview very shortly. So thank you for joining me. And Baxter, if people haven't liked or subscribed this video, where are we sending them?
Go on to 10. Go on 10.
All right, and just how we finished the last episode, Baxter can't reply.